Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up in our news tonight. Challenges persist with getting children on the online platform. Change is on the way at the Department of Corrections. Countries around the world celebrate World Food Day. A union vice president calls for stronger leadership. And a breast cancer survivor shares her story of survival. Welcome to our News, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Georgie O'Bain, topping news tonight. Only 70% of students at Adelaide Primary are using the Ministry of Education's virtual platform. That's according to the school's principal, who says that the school is doing all it can to get students to log on and not miss out on those virtual classes. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
Right now we're about around 70% online.
What's happening at Adelaide Primary is part of a much bigger picture. The numbers there nearly mirror what education officials say is happening across the board in the public school system. Just over a week ago, Education Director Marcellus Taylor revealed that 30% of all online students are not attending online classes. Taylor said a part of the problem is the lack of devices and internet connection. Black says lack of internet is a major issue for students who live in surrounding communities.
Most of them connectivity and internet is the issue here because we're giving out the devices, but just in the areas that they live, there is no internet.
While the internet is an issue, she says the school is doing what it must to get devices to kids.
We're doing our very best to, as an outreach, like I said, we're even telling the parents, come on, we'll get you online. We'll show you how to get on. We'll sign in. We'll give you the tablets. But then when they go home, if there's no internet, then that is an issue.
There are currently 119 students registered at the school. Black says they plan on adding more kids once the preschool unit is officially opened after COVID cases drop and the Ministry of Education deems face-to-face learning is safe. She says once that happens, they will be ready to hit the ground running.
We are looking forward to welcoming them and their 4-year-olds. And if we do have space, we will also take 3-year-olds in it. It's a brand new building, very nicely done.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Since the start of the pandemic, Doctors Hospital has conducted nearly 700,000 COVID-19 tests, with that number expected to hit 8 digits shortly, according to Chief Financial Officer Dennis DeVoe.
As of yesterday, Doctors Hospital has performed just under 700,000 COVID-19 tests, and we'll zero in on north of 1 million COVID tests here fairly shortly. But, looking at this data, we realized a couple of things. The primary reason for testing from our data was for businesses who were seeking to safely reopen.
He added that the data shows that secondary reasons for COVID-19 testing was travel.
Folks looking to travel outside of the Bahamas, or even tourists coming into the Bahamas who either had a test mandate as a part of them entering the resort of their choice, or they had a day 5 testing obligation as a part of the policy of the government. And so overwhelming majority of testing we could clearly see was tied to the reopening of the Bahamian economy.
DeVoe says their analysis shows that businesses that engage their associates in regular COVID testing every 5 to 7 days had a positivity rate 3 times lower than people testing for other reasons.
If I'm in a corporate program that has contact tracing, risk mitigants and protocols, daily digital screenings to check what's going on with my temperature and how I feel, compared to if I were not, if I was not in that program, I was 3 times more likely to have a test positive screening in a rapid antigen environment. And so that's a significant statement about the importance of screening on an ongoing basis.
Sensible changes are underway at the Department of Corrections, according to National Security Minister Wayne Munro, who said proper COVID-19 protocols and sanitation procedures are being put in place.
The Dr. Johnson, who is in place up there, has sent through a COVID mitigation policy that makes complete sense about disinfecting the prison every day. I was surprised that that wasn't happening in the time of COVID. about trying to move for testing of inmates, at least by a rapid antigen test, before they are put together with other people when they're coming into the prison.
It comes nearly a month after prison chief Charles Murphy was placed on immediate leave pending an investigation. Monroe added several other matters that were being neglected are also being looked into.
The disciplinary court that disciplines officers and disciplines inmates has been able to function now, and I'm understanding that Deputy Commissioner Murray is running that and hearing numbers of cases a day that were backed up for some time. And so there is coming back to the correctional institution some of what the statute requires.
Still to come on our News Weekend, how locals are keeping Nassau's cruise port churning, sustainable food for the future, and a little later, Happy Foods 242 celebrates season 15. That's coming up when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
With major construction underway at the Nassau Cruise Port to meet the summer 2022 completion target, CEO Mike Morris says it's requiring all hands on deck. There are signs of a rebound with 5 cruise ships in port at one time this past week, the most traffic the port has seen since March 2020. And with thousands of visitors still coming in at that time, Morris says it's really Bahamians who are keeping things moving.
It's the team of Nassau Cruise Port, you know, the Bahamian team, Maya, who does our marketing, Catherine, who's head of finance, Marquez in operations. We have Colin and the security team with Edwin on the PFSO side of things, port security. But, you know, we're just blessed that we have such a fantastic, phenomenal group of Bahamians that are collectively so passionate about bringing this project to life and making it a win for all Bahamians.
Morris says it's not just the staff, but Bahamian stakeholders as well, from taxi drivers to hair braiders to musicians.
Maya has done a great job in bringing entertainment because this is a construction site. We can't change that, but we're bringing music, our culture, and you know, having people think about what's to come and not so focused on the construction around them.
Our actions are our future as the countries observe World Food Day with a vision for better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life. A donation of fresh eggs and fruit trees marked the kickoff of World Food Day 2021.
When we toured this site last week, two things that stood out to me were the birds that make the second phase of the layer egg program initiated by the previous administration and the beautiful, healthy-looking breadfruit trees that were in the greenhouse at the crop section. So this donation this morning of these 2 items is a pleasant surprise.
Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, Leonardo Lightbourne, says government hopes to foster a community of development.
I would like to encourage farmers to continue to produce their crops and the community at large to begin their own farming to assist Bahamas in helping to feed itself. Number 2, the more we farm, we help our country to be self-efficient. Less imports of food items, which translate into more monies staying at home and in the pockets of our very own Bahamians. Number 3, we can produce our own foods. The Bahamian people benefits. We create more jobs and more families have a meal on the table, which translate into keeping our economy viable.
Superintendent of the Simpson Penn School for Boys, Chadwick James, thanked the Department of Agriculture, saying the donation will help the school to achieve self-sufficiency.
And we thank God for the Department of Agriculture and this presentation they made to us, because during the COVID experience, we've been allowing the boys to do a whole lot of planting and planning to make our country even better. So we have a farm now for the past probably a year and a half. We've already started growing tomatoes, sweet peppers, peanuts, even strawberries, and peas, various items. So this breadfruit will be added to our farm. The banana suckers will be added to our farm. And we just want to thank God for people having the vision, because we are at a place now where we need to be self-sufficient.
Meanwhile, Bahamas Faith Ministries Church Farm will also see the benefits.
I think the gifts that we're receiving this morning will go a long way in starting for some of us, and some of us complementing what we have already, and ensuring that this self-sufficiency that we're trying to achieve would be accomplished. In fact, we just got through digging new wells and putting a watering system. So the supplies that we're getting from you now would, of course, enhance what we're doing there this time.
When our news comes back from the break, a breast cancer survivor shares what keeps her going, and a former hotel worker issues a call for the union to step up. The details when our news returns.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
You're watching Our News Weekend. Welcome back. Vice President of the Bahamas General Workers Union, Dave Beckford, is calling out President of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Darren Woods, for what he says is the failure to properly represent Atlantis workers. Beckford, a former Atlantis employee, says Woods needs to step up and speak out on behalf of unvaccinated Atlantis workers who are currently paying for weekly COVID-19 tests as a requirement for work.
Why hasn't the president of the union, Mr. Darren Woods, if these workers are being charged, which I understand, why haven't filed a trade dispute? Because I think the Director of Labor also said that the workers themselves can file a trade dispute against their employer and be compensated for all the monies that they would have spent to take the test.
According to Beckford, there are several clear signs that hotel workers need stronger representation.
The Health and Safety Act, Section 9 is clear. The employer should not have their workers pay for it. There is no registered industrial agreement. For example, again, a lot is discontinued the bus service. They went from weekly salary, paying weekly salary to buy every 2 weeks. They just, so again, they have made, I understand, the breakfast. Workers, you work a certain shift, you're entitled to get breakfast. I understand that is being discontinued.
Woods has spoken out against workers having to pay for their own COVID-19 testing and has asked for the government to intervene. However, he said that he has no response for Beckford's comments. Beckford, meanwhile, maintains that the union must step up.
As a member of the union paying $10, and you look at, like I say, no increase in salaries, no industrial agreement. They can't come on the property. Hotel workers, a lot of them are suffering, and they're crying out for representation.
A double mastectomy survivor and a mother of one says life after cancer is nothing short of amazing. But Dr. Aaliyah Campbell tells Our News that it also has its challenges. It's hard to tell that Dr. Aaliyah Cooper has fought one of the hardest battles of life against breast cancer. But from her smile to the frequent jokes she makes, Campbell's energy screams survivor. She does, however, struggle with survivor's remorse. You see, Dr. Campbell and her mother were fighting cancer at the same time. Her mother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer while she fought breast cancer. Unfortunately, her mother passed away.
Survival mode is kind of bittersweet for me because I feel like I'm surviving alone because I lost my best friend. She was my backbone. She was my everything. So now I feel as though, even though I have my dad, nothing is like a mother's love.
The terrifying diagnosis came just a year after the birth of her son during a routine check.
I had pretty good sized breasts. I was a D cup, and I had Logan and didn't understand why I couldn't breastfeed. Like, I could not breastfeed. I was like, God, you give me these big breasts and they just serve, and like, why are they here? And then a year later, during a routine exam, I found a lump.
Campbell says she can't recall much of her battle with cancer because of what she jokingly called chemo brain. But the truth is, her battle was secondary to her mother's fight.
I had to put my fight on the back burner because my mother's fight was far more greater than mine was and was going to be. So I kind of put myself second. I'm happy that it's behind me. I'm happy that my hair is growing back. Everything's tending to be back to normal. To be honest with you, sometimes I forget and then I remember, oh shoots, I went through that, right? Okay, wow. You know, when I give myself prep talks, hey, you need to snap out of it, because like I say, I have my days as well.
And while she has her dark days, Campbell says life in remission is nothing short of amazing.
I wake up every morning with a positive mind. I have my 4-year-old, he's 4 now. Logan is 4. When I was diagnosed, he was 1. So every day is an absolute blessing because I get to wake up to and with him. Life after cancer is amazing.
Dr. Campbell says she's grateful for some of the changes cancer has caused.
The person I was before I got ill, I'm definitely not that person anymore. I was grudgy. I was angry. Now I am everything I take with a grain of salt. Nothing is personal, even if it is personal. Nothing is personal because life is definitely too short.
So now Dr. Campbell lives her life to the fullest and even brings her more than 4,500 followers on Instagram along for the ride.
If you know me, you know, she's my dog. She's my dog.
It makes me smile knowing that I touched someone by just being myself. Because all my life it was kind of me being me was frowned upon. Why are you so active? Why are you so this? Why are you so that? So knowing that being me brings enlightenment and brings positivity and inspiration to someone else, that's what, you know, makes me feel a lot better.
Ahead on R News, a new season of delicious dining coming up when R News Weekend returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Since October 2014, Happy Foods 242 has been bringing delectable dishes to TV screens across the country. And tonight, they will head into their 15th season. Our Jasmine Brown sat down with the show's host and spoke all about the biggest and yummiest season yet.
Happy Foods, Happy Foods 242, 242, Happy Foods 242, food galore just for you. Happy Food 242, food galore just for you. This ain't no talking show, it's an eating show. Sasha Laurel is the host of Happy Foods 242, food galore just for you. Happy Foods 242.
Tell me how it feels to have one of the longest running shows on cable television.
You know, it feels really great, Jasmine. When I first started the show, to be honest, a lot of people don't know that I was in a really dark place. And so to see it come from just a dream on paper and just a conversation with someone who I know who knows how to use cameras to where it is now, 150 plus shows, it's an amazing feeling. I like to tell people the show is not about me. While you see me at the forefront, there are so many people that make the show happen.
A lot of people don't know, but you wear many different hats. You're also part of the R News team. I call you my favorite still producer of all time. I know you're not embarrassed, but you know how I feel about the work you do for the team. How do you feel when we go out and anywhere we go, people just start singing the Happy Foods 242, such a recognized brand?
I think that's probably one of the most gratifying things about the show, especially with children. When children come up to me and they do either, or they say, Mommy, I know that lady from TV, or that's the food lady. Or when just random adults just come up to me and say, yeah, I know you from the food show, you know. It feels really good because it means that 1, people are watching, 2, they've watched consistently.
Season 15, episode 1 premieres tomorrow. What can we expect this season, time, and of course we know it airs on our TV channel 212.
So we're actually sitting in this beautiful edifice that's located here at Bahamian Bistro. So Bahamian Bistro will be the first episode that people will get to watch tomorrow, 7 p.m. Make sure y'all don't forget, 7 p.m. channel 212. But there are so many things in store for this season. We have ice cream, we have a couple of private chefs. I don't want to give too much away because I want you guys to tune in every Saturday for the next 10 Saturdays at 7 p.m. But more food, more drinks, definitely a lot of laughs between me and the boys. And just wholesome content, wholesome, local, Bahamian content.
Okay. Well, you have to teach. The final thing you know, you always end every show. And I always mess this up, so let's do the 242.
Jasmine, it's only 242.
Let's try.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You just watched another exciting episode of Happy Foods.
2, 4.
Well, thank you for joining us for our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Georgie O'Bain, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow evening. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.